Good morning. Man, it is not pretty outside today. You guys see that view from the front of Results One out there. It is Thursday. Gloomy weather today. Knock out some weather with you guys. 70% chance for majority of the day. We saw some heavy rain this morning on the commute in. I drive in about 3 a.m., but still not the prettiest day outside. You can see we're on 528 right now, eastbound. Approaching Trade Port Drive, which is just west of MCO, Orlando International Airport. And our topic today is interesting. First and foremost, let me get this part out of the way. I'm not a traffic engineer, okay? It was funny because producer Thomas and I were just talking about numbers and all that fun stuff. I don't do numbers, but I do really good explanations. So we're going to talk about an interesting traffic engineering topic today. The differences between concrete barriers and metal guardrails. Here in the state of Florida, we called them guardrails, and Thomas pointed out to me in some other states they refer to them as guide rails, which is kind of smart because that's what they do. So that is what we are talking about today. I'm going to do my best to kind of explain some things to you. Some of you guys will see this as complete, obvious information, but the question has been asked, and I will answer. So first, when it comes to traffic control devices, travel lanes, everything we see out on the roadway, things just don't happen. Like the markings painted there on the floor that you're seeing in the right travel lane, or the exit 11 sign that you see right there on the right side of your screen. Everything has a reason. Everything is intentional. Nothing out on our roadway is put there by accident. We've talked about speed limits and speed limit signs, why they adjust, why suddenly maybe a southbound direction will be 45 miles an hour and a northbound direction could be 35 miles an hour, but you're in the same portion. And we've talked about that in a way of what's called a traffic study. Traffic engineers, every local jurisdiction has traffic engineers. I used to work a lot with them when I was with the Florida Highway Patrol because I was the vice chair and then the chair of the CTST, which is the CTST. What did that stand for? I don't remember. Traffic Safety Committee, something like that, but it is multi-jurisdictions coming together. It may get really loud, guys, because I am about to enter some serious rain. Actually, for this discussion for right now, we're going to find a place to park. So give me 1 second here, and we're going to pull over. Find a little place to sit just for a few minutes, because I don't want to go live with you guys in this heavy rain. So 1 second. All right. So it is storming really bad right now. Pulled way off. We're in a little cut-through area. A little bright. Let's put some, there we go. So everything is done with intention. And when I was on this traffic safety committee, it is comprised of every jurisdiction that has anything to do with traffic, whether it's law enforcement, school crossing guards, engineers, and we would all meet once a month over at the Orange County Traffic Safety Building, which is off of John Young Parkway south of the jail. And we would discuss things, concerns. If a person brought anything to our attention, then we would sit there, discuss it, and in return, kick it off to the traffic engineers. They would then conduct a traffic study. The study is literally them looking at the infrastructure, looking at the population, what the roadway looks like, what the challenges are, and why this is being suggested. And then they figure out, okay, do we need to make an adjustment? Where does the signage need to be placed? How thick a median should be? Things like that. You want to talk about people speaking over my head? Those were the type of meetings I was in. Because at the end of the day, my mentality is all about common sense traffic safety, or safety in general. So the topic specifically today is concrete barriers versus metal guardrails. And we're going to keep that term metal guardrails because in the state of Florida, that's what we call them. But I really like the term guide rail for some reason. So concrete road barriers and metal guardrails are both types of different type of roadway barriers or dividers. And the sole reason for them, two different, separate traffic and protect drivers and passengers. So obviously a concrete barrier is a little bit different, but materials consist of, for the concrete, can be reinforced with steel on the inside of them, but usually made up of concrete as a whole, and they come in sections because then they come in and they place them and things like that. What is the purpose? The concrete barriers are used to really protect opposing traffic lanes and keep vehicles from leaving the roadway completely. Okay, so I've noticed something. Most of our newer roadways, or revamped, retouched, all that fun stuff, they have older metal guardrails. And where I'm at right now at 528 and Goldenrod, the median out here is predominantly a metal guardrail. We're switching over to center concrete barriers in our newer roadways. Metal guardrails are used to keep vehicles from leaving the road and colliding with obstacles. All right, so those are two big differences. Concrete is to separate opposing traffic and to basically stop you. Okay, metal guardrails are there not for opposing traffic, but for other type of obstacles, especially in areas of, like, think about this. I travel a lot. You guys see me post a lot. There's been some crazy driving I've done in, like, the mountains, these national parks, where I am terrified because you look over the side of the road and you're plummeting hundreds of feet, and all there is a guardrail there. Now, in my mind, I'd prefer a concrete barrier, but this is designed to take an impact and kind of hold the structure of what happened there. These, believe it or not, when these guys install them, they've already been tested. All this stuff goes through crash testing and all sorts of different things. Concrete barriers are usually rigid and don't deflect much. So what do I mean? If you're hitting it, you're hitting it. There is no, like, holding the vehicle there. Think about I-4, right? On both sides of I-4 for the metro area, for the majority of it, you have concrete on both sides. Ping pong effect, right? With a metal guardrail, it absorbs impact. So when you hit that, most of the time, when you hit a guardrail, you're staying there because it's going to absorb that energy from the crash, the crush damage from the vehicle, and it's going to hold that vehicle there. Concrete barriers are usually rigid, obviously, made out of concrete, and they don't deflect, like I just said. Maintenance costs for these are kind of average. We're talking concrete barriers have a lower maintenance than, of course, the steel barriers because of the multiple parts in the steel. They're mixed with steel, wood, large pieces of aluminum, so multi pieces to kind of purchase and replace. When with a concrete barrier, they cut it, they take it out, and they replace it. Concrete barriers are less dangerous to vehicle occupants in crashes than steel barriers. Why? Because when you hit that guardrail, the guardrail ultimately can break apart, can have debris, things like that. And you don't necessarily, I don't know what this guy's doing. You don't necessarily want that to occur, right? Let's see, concrete barriers can be cast in place and secured to the floor with cement. So technically a concrete barrier can go anywhere. All right, so what I'd like to do, go for a little drive so we could see the differences in our community and our roads. We're on 528 down by the airport. We're going to head east towards 417, and then you can begin to see what I'm talking about. Ramps usually have metal guardrails. When you enter out to the main roadway, high speeds, then they're usually separated by a concrete barrier. The main difference at the end of the day, concrete barriers and guardrails lie in their design, effectiveness, an intended purpose, right? Concrete barriers are sturdier and provide a solid barrier, making them suitable for preventing head-on collisions. Got a lot of notes because, like I said, I'm not a traffic engineer, so I wanted to make sure I hit all the main points. We're gonna hit the road here, head on east here on 528. So we can see what's going on, but there is a car parked here in front of me that just pulled over. We're gonna wait for them to go ahead and move out of Results One's way. But we do have a lot of rain moving in. While we're sitting here, I'll pull up the radar for us just so I can see what exactly our weather conditions look like, because it is not pretty outside. This came definitely not out of nowhere. If you watched meteorologist Michelle Morgan, she was in for Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos this morning. This was already in the works, guys. So this little weather that's coming over MCO right now just developed here. So just make sure we're cautious today, because that rain looks like it's going to stick around. Let's see what the Pinpoint app says on our forecast. So about 1 o'clock, it's all coming back. So, all right, let's hit the road. If you're joining us this morning, I encourage you to go back and watch the first portion of this, because we did some administrative conversation about concrete medians and barriers. So it sounds a little hypocritical of everything I just said, because 528 here, if you look to the far left of your screen, does not have a concrete barrier. I can tell you from living out here, this area hasn't been touched in years. The biggest thing that has happened out here is going to be off to the right-hand side is the train. The traffic engineers make that determination. It does not ever rely with law enforcement. And I want to make that a little clear. A lot of people like to put everything on the cops because we're easy targets. We're out there, we're always in the front and center of things, and you know, it's just the relation of the job. We deal with a lot of weird stuff. But we have no control over what happens on how the roadway is designed. We can provide input, but we are not the deciding factor. So please, lay off the law enforcement guys a little bit when it comes to, I can't believe this median's like this. They probably can't believe it's like that either. This rain right now, white out rain. Pretty rough out here this morning. I'm doing well below the speed limit. Just because, remember, the too fast for conditions and what that means. It means just because the speed limit's 65 doesn't mean we should be doing 65. Give me 1 second, guys. How's audio? I just wanted to check with our producer, because I know if I can barely hear myself, it's probably a little loud for you guys as well. We've got one of those people that have their hazard lights on but don't even have, we're going to issue a clown alert for the Ford Runner in the center travel lane there, because they have their hazard lights on in the rain, but they don't even have their actual headlights on. Not the smartest people in the world. So keep in mind, even when the sun is up, you need to make sure, if it's raining, your headlights are on. Everyone passing me right now. We only have 5 honks, so I don't want to waste it. But my goodness. Alright, we're going to exit 528, try to get out of this storm a little bit, and head north on State Road 417. There we go. Calming down a little bit. So this is what I want you to start to do. We talked about concrete barriers and metal barriers. Whenever you take a ramp, things can be a little interesting. So let's take the ramp here. And as you exit, there's signage. There is no barriers even by the lake here. But as you begin to come up on the ramp, you will see metal guardrails. Remember, other states call them guide rails. It's really hard for me to kick that out of my brain right now because it makes so much sense. But this absorbs your impact. You're not going to ping pong all over the place with something like this. And it's preventing you from going into ponds. And look at the change. Then we go to an overpass and it turns to concrete, a much stronger barrier. Because if we were to hit this, we're probably not going on the other side. But there is always a chance, depending on how egregious your speed is when you hit a metal guardrail, you could go through it. Change from concrete here to metal on the ramp as we enter to northbound 417. Man, this rain is nasty, guys. If you have to be out on the road this morning, I'm asking, please, 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 lower your speed, manually turn on your headlights. If you feel the need that you need to turn on your hazard lights, there's probably enough reason for you not to be driving. I know they changed the law, but it still doesn't make any sense to me. It's the problem when you have people making our traffic laws that have never had any involvement in traffic. So northbound, really heavy right now. But look here, if you can see it. Off to the right, no guardrail. No guardrail at all. On the left side, we have a double metal guardrail, which maybe in their ideology equivalent to concrete? Not sure. But south of here is very interesting. So if you're on 417 south of the 528, which is about 2 miles behind us, that area is going under the expansion and it's getting swapped out. Concrete medians are happening and they're getting rid of that center metal guardrail. For audio purposes, I'm going to exit here real quick so we can end this and talk and carry on with the rest of our day. 417 northbound here at the 27-mile marker this morning, exiting at beautiful Lee Road. I love giving you guys traffic updates because I run into some of you guys and you don't believe that this is live. So yesterday we were out at the Max Brewer Bridge and someone was like, "Oh my gosh, you're really live." I hate to break it to you guys here at News 6. We don't lie to you guys. We're gonna do something. We're doing it. Whether it's covering an awesome parade with Justin Warman or me live in the middle of this crazy weather, it's gonna happen. So let's pull off here. Just briefly. Look at that. Silence. Beautiful. Traffic engineers are the ones that are ultimately responsible to how things look on our roadways. Nothing is ever accidental. Teams are put together to input their ideas, their suggestions, and their concerns. And then it's those smart group of people that love their numbers, that have a passion for traffic, that are traffic engineers. Each county has a department that controls that throughout our community. Obviously, so does the state, but when it comes to the placement of a lot of these things, it's really truly on a local level. Nothing is ever accidental, from the stop sign placement to the one-way sign to where a stop bar is located. None of it is by accident, and everything has a reason as to why it's there. That does not mean something out on our roadways can't change. If a study is done because of population change or infrastructure change, a business has popped up somewhere and it's affecting traffic, a study is then conducted to see if things need to change. Speed limits, believe it or not, are some of the craziest because there's a calculation that is done based off of the surrounding area in order to determine speed. Same thing for the guardrails. Guardrails are looked at as safety barriers, and the only reason they are there is to protect vehicles from striking each other and to protect drivers and passengers from leaving the roadway and entering into a obstacle, whether it be a pond, a ramp, and they want you to keep off the embankment and things like that. Obviously, I don't want you striking any type of guardrail, but I think that's as much as I've got for you. It's a science, guys, at the end of the day. So I appreciate these types of questions. I really appreciate the safety ones and the operational ones. But I do believe next time an engineering question comes in, we should get a traffic engineer here and ask them the hard questions. They don't like my questions most of the time, but it's okay because I'm speaking for you guys. So thank you for this type of question. Got me to thinking outside my box and just not safety stuff and diving into the mathematics of concrete barrier versus a metal barrier. So please drive safely today. It is ugly. It is not pretty. There is nothing nice about sitting underneath an overpass so that we could talk. Please drive safely today. Manually turn on your headlights and taillights just by flipping it or turning it all the way on. Do not rely on that automatic stuff because 99% of the time it doesn't even turn on your taillights. And if it's raining, your wipers and headlights need to be on, not only for safety, but it's the law. And think about it, it's not for you to see during daytime and inclement weather, it is for you to be seen. Clicking it? Roger? Cool. All right, guys, you have an amazing day. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for the morning show. Make sure you tune in at noon to get updated on what the current weather conditions are for the rest of the day. For now, I'm gonna try to fill up this truck with some gas and not get totally soaked. You guys have a great day. Love you guys.